I'm Terry Lopez, and I'm a local artist here on Maui. And I love teaching art and being part of the art community. And I'm always looking for new ways to interpret my art. So this show came up, the collaboration show, and I was thinking in my head, this is giving me a great idea to collaborate with an architect. So I talked to Peter. I had met Peter in a different little art class we took together, portrait class actually. And this is Peter Niess. He's an architect here on Maui.
Hi, I'm Peter Niess, born and raised here, local architect, owner of Maui Architectural Group, and I've always loved being creative. Went to Haleakala Waldorf and then Seabury. And Terry came into my office after I'd taken a class that she was leading. My mom and I went and took it. And she asked if I would be willing to collaborate and create some pieces of art together. And I looked at all my work and I said, yes, let's do this. Let's make it happen.
I wasn't really sure how this was going to all fit together because just plunking down a house plan or something didn't quite fit. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I should do some paintings, like paint a little plantation house, because I think all artists here on Maui love, or it's kind of romantic a little bit, but the plantation houses are disappearing, but they have such a history at the same time. So I'm thinking, how can we make this interesting? So I was really drawn to how much of an art form being an architect is. He has to listen to his clients, somehow pull all their ideas together, but also deal with the environment. Think of the site where he's at, like which way does the sun come, the wind come, where's the view, and pull all that together. So anyway, in doing that, while he's talking to his clients, he comes up with these little thought bubbles. Like, say for example, your friends a family, a young family here on Maui, and they have a couple kids. And why don't you talk about that process?
Probably the most enjoyable part of the process, the design, initial schematic design concept. It's where you get to be the most creative. And we'll sit there and just list all of their wants, their dream house, what's everything that they would like to have. And then we'll start talking about the relationships of spaces to each other and how they want to live in the space and how they want to wake up and drink their coffee and what are they going to do when they get home from work. And just, it's so different with every person and every project that what I love about my job probably the most is that it's always changing, always different. And then when you factor in all different building materials and the possibilities, it's just limitless.
And then, it's like I had done a little research getting ready for this project, and so I had specifically with Dickey. And so that's why we have one piece that's pretty much devoted to him, and it's Charles W. Dickey. And what's interesting about him, which I never knew, I knew he'd designed a lot of buildings. He'd been in Hawaii, had a part of an architectural firm with Hart, and then came and did all these buildings in Maui as well, like the Wailuku Library, the old lava, the beautiful old buildings. So the first thing is we're sitting here looking at these beautiful sketchbooks, the two of us together, and I had this idea like, okay, well, how are we going to copy these? Are you going to redraw them? How are we going to make this happen? And then also which medium, which form is it going to take? Are we going to work with acrylic, maybe a resin piece, maybe, I don't know, I kept thinking oil, no, that's not going to work. And so we came up with the encaustic idea. I said, if I use encaustic and real pure color, I can create environments, because the whole point of the architecture in the environment, it's the two things together. So use colors that are representative of Hawaii. So we got the blues, which is the ocean, a couple shades of blue. The greens, which is, we all think of cane fields, even though we're starting to lose them, but it's still part of Hawaii. And then the rust, the red dirt colors, the golds and the browns. So just those three colors, that's it. And some white space, where we could put these drawings in there. And then, okay, so we thought if we use encaustic wax to get the color, then how are we going to get the drawings in there, and which drawings, and how are we going to do this? So we decided on silk gampi because it's so forgiving. You can print on it, you can paint on it, you can draw on it. So we did those three things. There's a few places, some of the pieces have hand-done drawings that Peter did right on the silk gampi tissue. Some of them, there's a painting, a little painting that I did of a house in one of them, the Dickey piece. There's a little house in the background we painted on the silk gampi. And did a couple of them, couple colors, trying to make sure that it would integrate together. And then Peter, we started using the silk gampi. You can print, you can make copies right out of the sketchbook with the intent of keeping that freshness. Because sometimes when you try and copy, I think, something you've already done so beautifully, that freshness leaves. And so trying to keep that also, that element, the freshness, we decided to copy them using onto the gampi silk and then rip apart the gampi, the little images that we have, the colored versus the floor plan, black and whites, and move them around and try and find a way to integrate them. And in that process, we found out there's big parts and little parts. The big parts being the big finished plans, and the little parts being the thought bubbles, the little special elements, the little roof detail that you're talking about, or the window detail. And so we kind of found a bridge between the real organic form of the encaustic wax and then the static floor plans. We put all these little pieces in. Another piece we did was a thing we found with a bridge was the plants. That was kind of funny. We thought, oh, this looks really good. There's a little coconut tree that you drew in, and I don't know, it all seemed to kind of come together. You did drawings of the templates, that the architects use. We put those in there too. A couple things that really stood out in my mind when I was first approached this project was the split pitch roof and also the stone work that's almost craftsman style that you see a lot in Honolulu and up in Manoa, those old houses, but they're done out of lava rock. And this piece is called Rock Solid, which we were like, what are we going to call all these? And I thought, that's so appropriate.
Speaking of the templates thing, this is our design template that we put plumbing fixtures in with. So these are all, it's just a fun way to add character, and it almost feels like it could be tribal or tattoo-like. And yeah, it made sense in its own way.
It was so fun. I think the other thing, never mind challenges, it was all so good, so wonderful, but having Peter share his sketchbooks with me, because a lot of people, their sketchbooks kind of your soul. You know, it's bared right there, it's your thoughts right there on the page. Looking through them going, these are so wonderful. The little thought bubbles, he calls them, where he puts the little circles together, the bedrooms and the kitchens, and just, you know, we want the bedrooms over here, and we want this one over here, and it's before it becomes a plan. And I saw that and I went, oh, this is so wonderful. We can do something with this. Wasn't quite sure what. So that was our process. It kind of like evolved. I kind of went in with an idea, but then it evolved into something else.
Things that were beneficial is pretty much everything about the whole process, just from Terry stopping in and us getting more and more excited, like, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. Let's talk about it. And going home and being able to think about something besides, oh, this project, I need to do this, and oh, I actually need to do laundry sometime. All of a sudden I was like, wait, I need to be creative. And that was actually, going back to what was tricky, for me to loosen up and just get out of drawing all the sharp technical bits. It was hard for me to be like, hey, just let go and go back to being more free with your everything, creativity and how you're drawing, and just loosen up.
I think anytime you go through a process like that, you come away so much more enriched. And I think for me, it was getting to understand the architectural process. I thought I knew what it was. I had no idea. I found out later, you know? And then I just realized, and I knew he was artistic because I'd been in this class with him and talked to him a little bit, but just to really come away with seeing what he goes through. I came away totally enriched, and to kind of work together with somebody Peter's like my kids' age, you know, and it's like so wonderful that we all know each other. They all know him, you know, went to school together, and it's just, I think it's a wonderful bridge for us, for me. And thank you, Peter. Thanks for doing this with me. It was so great.
Thank you.